Also discussed a distinctive characteristic having to do with religion and how Russia was obsessed with its Christian religion and also its need to keep the country together, as Orban says. Uh, this may be a different distinction without a difference, but I think it all pretty much laid to Russian history. If you look at Russian history, they had barely gotten themselves together in Kiev, okay, the Slavs, when they were invaded by the Mongols, Genghis Khan and crew, and occupied by, take note, two, 2 centuries and 40 years, okay? So now we're coming out of in the West, we're coming out of the Dark Ages. The Russians are just finally throwing off what they call the Tartar yoke, the Tatarskaya Iga. And what happens? Well, they were invaded by Sweden, Lithuania, right? The Hanseatic League, and Poland. They fight them off during the 1500s. Now, Ivan the Terrible finally consolidates, gets rid of his oligarchs, actually, they call it boyars and everything. He consolidates, and then when he gets more Mongols and he gets more Swedes. Finally, Peter the Great in the 17th century fights off the Swedes, beats them in 1721 and says, I'm turning west. Our future, Russia's future, we're going to beat a window into the west. And they did. What happened? 1812, he's invaded by the West, Napoleon. 1941, he's invaded by Hitler. That's the experience they've had with the West. Now, just to finish up here, when the Soviet Union imploded, Putin, by some miracle, was given the chance to put things together if he could, and he said, finally, our chance to join the West. Let's join NATO. There's no more need for NATO. When we join them, then it'll disappear because the Warsaw Pact's gone. We're no threat to anybody. Don't build any 155 millimeter shells. They're not needed anymore. And he was rebuffed. Long story short, came down to Ukraine, where the West moved its intermediate range ballistic missile emplacements in Romania and Poland. You face the same kind of situation that John F. Kennedy faced in Cuba in '62. Right. So this is what the Russians are preoccupied. They have this history, and every single Russian schoolboy or girl knows that by heart. And when you talk about Poland, you talk about Lithuania, you talk about the Baltic states, we dismiss them as no threat to Russia at all. The Russians know their history.
Larry, do you accept